What's going on YouTube? Heylow here, bringing you an all-new Total War Warhammer 2 1v1 matchup. So with the new DLC being out, Philip and I decided that we wanted to try playing some Chaos into Wood Elves and test a few units out, see what we like, what we don't like, and we happen to have this game, and man, was it a close one. So I wanted to show it to you guys today. For me, I will be playing Chaos. I am bringing Archaon the Ever-Chosen on horseback. He's going to be rocking the Fireball, Flaming Sword, and Burning Head. And up front, we're going to have a couple units of Chaos Marauders, just to provide some sponge squishiness, soak up some arrows if need be. And backline is going to consist of some Chaos Warriors to provide some staying power. Hell Cannon bringing up the rear, using this cliff in case of some Vanguard shenanigans. Each flank is going to have a Chaos Marauder Horseman with throwing axes, and we're going to have 2 units of Dragon Ogres. So I wanted to see if these guys would hold up against Wood Elves, deal with Cav, deal with trees, maybe the Zotes and whatnot. So we're going to see how they perform. And for Black Phillip over here, he is going to be rocking the Sister of Twilight on her dragon. She's going to be flying in. On the ground here, we've got a Branch Wraith who's going to be rocking some of the typical healing here. He's going to have the Pendulum as well with the freaking, what's it called, Earthblood. We have a Waystalker as well to provide some of that ranged magic missile damage. Front line consisting of Eternal Guard with shields, some of that AP anti-large and solid defense to hold me off. Backline is going to consist of Glade Guard with some Hagbane tips intermixed in there. Up front, Glade Rider with Spear is going to be providing some mobility and harassing potential. Alright, so straight into it, I am going to be firing off with my Hell Cannon, trying to get a little shot on the Glade Riders, take out some of that mobility early on in the game. He also does have the great Stag Knights, who look super freaking cool. I'm all about it. They look awesome. I'm digging the runes on the horns. But we do manage to land some hits here on the Glade Riders. Does some solid damage. We take out 7 models. He tries to fire off the Sister's multi-shot ability, but I took my crew off the Hell Cannon and it ruined the trajectory. So if you have artillery and you're worried about that, you can do that. Unfortunately, I was not nearly good enough with the micro there, trying to get some shots on some other stuff. But it's something to keep in mind. Archaon's going to be dunking a fireball out to try and hit the Branch Wraith, and we land a solid grazing shot there, taking a nice chunk of HP damage out. So he wants to take my Hell Cannon out. I want to try and capitalize on some other stuff. The Hell Cannon just shits the bed there. I'm just kidding. That's me trying to remember how to manual fire. But another shot coming out, trying to get in on some of these Glade Guard, but man, Hell Cannon, the accuracy, not exactly prime time. So he decides to switch to the single shot, which does significantly better against me here. Another fireball coming out to try and put some hurt on the Branch Wraith, force him to use some of that healing potential early on, down to almost half HP. But Hell Cannon lands a nice shot here on the Low-X Tricksters as well as the Glade Guard. Shots are now coming out as the lines start to close the gap here. So Chaos Marauder is doing exactly what they're supposed to do, but deciding that I don't want to sit back and let him just pepper me, I'm going to push forward and start the initial engagement early on. So seeing a little bit of a gap here, I decided to charge Archaon in, get a nice little charge to break up that Eternal Guard for me to charge in with the Chaos Warriors, and I'm going to push through and go straight after the Branch Wraith. Burning Head coming down on the Glade Guard, catching them off guard and doing a ton of damage. So a nice spell pickup for me there as he's trying to maneuver his great Stag Knights away from my Dragon Ogres. Unfortunately, I did lose some Marauder Horsemen with their throwing axes, which is going to be pretty lame in trying to deal with the Sisters of Twilight. But I did manage to shatter out, or rout out, excuse me, a bunch of his Glade Guard. So it's going to give me a little something something here, but he lands a very nice Pendulum on my Marauders, taking a bunch of them out. Archaon the Ever-Chosen, going to go in on the Branch Wraith and just absolutely lay the smack down. Archaon's just going to be trouncing about here in the front lines. I have noticed there's a problem with Archaon where he really struggles to get into base contact with the opposition. He's been running circles, and you're going to see a lot of this later in the game with the Way Watcher back here. Or Waystalker, excuse me. But Dragon over here trying to provide some breath attacks, and Phillip doing a really good job of collapsing my right flank. So he did manage to take my Hell Cannon out with those shots. So the crew is just kind of running in. Didn't really get the most value out of them. They are down to only half their ammo. But some of my horsemen coming back, right flank the Glade Guard, were chasing down my horsemen with throwing axes. So I decided to throw them into combat to try and tie them up and maybe take them out. Archaon is over here supporting the infantry engagement. Because I don't want to get mixed up in the Eternal Guard and the War Dancers, I decided to move my Dragon Ogres around the flank, get them in amongst the Glade Guard, and try and use them as just really slow, heavy cavalry. Archaon is doing the thing, running circles around the Waystalker, being absolutely useless. So that's a thing. Unfortunately, some of my Dragon Ogres getting taken out by Great Stag Knights supporting the Eternal Guard, and my infantry kind of holding up. Fortunately, a lot of that collapsed flank has rallied, and they're coming back into the fight. Balance of power isn't looking great for me right now, and this dragon is just going to be kind of hovering about, doing some breath attacks, really breaking my Chaos Warriors apart here. But trying to grab the Dragon Ogres and keep them mobile, charge them into the Great Stag Knights. Unfortunately for me, the Sisters of the Thorn have decided this is an opportune moment, and it definitely is. The Low-X Tricksters are on my Dragon Ogres, as is the Cav, but Archaon's going to run in there and try and put some hurt on this dragon. You can see him getting in combat, and my opponent decides that he doesn't want the sauce. Starting to kind of get out of there. Fortunately for me, Archaon manages to land a hit on him. But Dragon Ogres blobbing up here with Archaon to try and take out some of these elite infantry, finish off the Cav. It's going pretty well for me so far. The Stags aren't looking hot. However, the archers have managed to rally. They are sitting in the back, providing some of that Overwatch fire onto my Dragon Ogres, who are not enjoying that one bit. Our blob here has kind of succeeded in winning in the infantry engagement, so now we are going to be moving our infantry in to try and tie up the War Dancers as well as some of these archers. Give us an opportunity to move our Dragon Ogres about. Right flank is doing well for us as well. We are moving our throwing axes in as well as these Dragon Ogres to try and go after these Glade Guard and shut them down and get them off the battlefield. The Waystalker is wavering, but the Low-X Tricksters are trying to chase Archaon down. He is a pretty big threat, so I just kind of bull through him, and I'm going back after the Waystalker to try and get it off the battlefield. My cavalry does get into his archers, so we are managing to break them off the battlefield. So right now, kind of turning things around. It's looking really good for us. That dragon, though, has a ton of HP left, albeit it's running out of ammo. So the big move for us now, getting this Waystalker out of here and trying to avoid some of these Low-X Tricksters. Our infantry is looking very good. Balance of power is starting to tip in our favor. As long as we can keep some of these units off the battlefield, we're looking alright. But the dragon decides to come down in support of the Low-X Tricksters after Archaon. So we are going to be bringing the Dragon Ogres in to help support this engagement. Marauder Horsemen I'm keeping in this fight just to provide some bodies and some skirmish fire to maybe soak up some of the hits from the Low-X Tricksters. But the dragon here is starting to kind of put some work in on us. He's trying to snipe Archaon. Fortunately, Dragon Ogre's here helping to sponge that up. He's hurting, though. He's hurting. So Sisters of Twilight down to probably a fifth of their HP, but look at Archaon here, just really struggle bussing. Not doing too hot from the dragon at 343 HP and now routing. So our infantry is trying to catch up and provide some support, but we do also lose the Dragon Ogre out of that. The Sisters of Twilight unfortunately managed to escape their wavering, and he is going to be going after Archaon. So as much as I would have loved to take the engagement there and just win the fight, it doesn't happen. Waystalker manages to rally and is putting some fire into my units from afar. So Sisters of Twilight up in the air, trying to chase out Archaon, make sure he leaves the battle. Our Marauder Horseman throwing axes trying to provide some skirmishing fire into the dragon, do some chip damage, and Archaon does go down. So unfortunately for us, he is not having it. He is the big dead. And so is our horse. But Dragon gets back up in the air. Balance of power is still in my favor, but a lot of my units are kind of wavering and really hurting here. Another scatter shot going down onto my horsemen with throwing axes is going to be pushing them out pretty shortly. So I'm down a unit of throwing axes. My infantry has finally pushed off the Azari spears. But now I'm worried because this guy is very, very possibly going to rear charge and shatter some of my infantry. So I'm afraid to keep running about. We're going to start moving towards the Waystalker that's rallied and is putting some shots into me from afar. But, yeah, not looking ideal. Those Great Stag Knights managed to come back, 4 models of it, and 8 models of Eternal Guard. Fortunately for us, some Throwing Axe horsemen do come back, and we run out of ammo with this unit. So the Sister getting its regen off. Such a bummer for me. Balance of power tips into Philip's favor, and it's not looking great. So the Dragon is going to be putting some serious hurt on me. The Hell Cannon crew taking a hit there. 3 models left, 2 models left, and now we're just kind of getting into this blob engagement. So we're trying to get the surround on the Dragon. I'm trying to use my cavalry to keep pulling out and rear charging, so we can hopefully get some work done on this here. But with that animation, it kind of breaks up my charge. So another unit of Chaos Warriors coming down from the backfield here to charge into the Dragon. I'm trying to pull my infantry through so that it gets wrapped around the Dragon, and I'm not just blobbed up in one pocket taking big ol' AoE damage. So we do manage to get a nice surround, and we're chipping away at them. We're chipping away, but I have no anti-large, no AP units, so it's just this little battle of attrition against this Dragon here that has physical resistance. So my cavalry continues to charge in, trying to break off that leadership, and Philip has stuck in the engagement. Some of the spears and the Great Stags are coming back, but other than that, you're not seeing much on the battlefield. It's just my infantry trying to deal with this. And you see the Great Stags charging into the backs of my Chaos Warriors here, just bowling through. But my men begin routing, unfortunately. They are beginning to flee the battlefield. Balance of power are damn near even. Some of my cavalry, though, coming back. The Throwing Axe is deciding to give it another go. And my one Hell Cannon crewman, my little dwarf, just holding the line here, providing that wonderful, wonderful leadership stability that I so desperately need to avoid a chain rout. So some more of my Chaos Marauders coming back in, and the Sisters are wavering. They're down to 14 leadership right now. Some more of my units coming back. Chaos Warriors coming back into the fight from each flank. Some Eternal Guard rolling up in here to try and support the Dragon. And again, some units start routing. But the other Marauders and my Chaos Warriors coming back in, and this one dwarf just not having it. Just staying in the fight the whole time, continuing to battle this Dragon, and we finally managed to shatter out the Dragon itself. So this lone Dawi, this Chaos Dwarf, just tanking it for the win for us. And man, super close game. I was like on the cusp of shattering in the end game there, and that clutch Sister of Twilight heal, keeping Philip in the fight for so long, it was just ridiculous. So you can see performance-wise, the Dragon Ogres did pretty decently. They picked up some chevrons. The Hell Cannon, didn't really get much value out of it. My Throwing Axes came in pretty handy, but the big thing from the Hell Cannon was the crew staying in the fight that entire time. For Philip, the Dragon definitely was the clutch unit there. I managed to deal with the Branch Wraith pretty early on. Waystalker wasn't able to get too much done, but provided some solid supporting fire. The Great Stag Knights, though, were doing pretty good work. They came in toward the late game and were really helping provide some support for the Dragon with those rear charges and whatnot. And it's pretty nice seeing like the damaged out and the damage value here. So you can see what they were putting out. Hell Cannon didn't do nearly enough to pay for itself, but Dragon Ogres did okay. They did some decent work. But yeah, Archaon picking up 12,000 damage, but man, 21k on this dragon was absolutely nuts. Absolutely nuts. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the game. I hope you guys are enjoying the DLC as well, and I will see you guys next time.